Welcome to That's So Rad podcast. I'm your host, Travis Vongsness. This is a podcast about people, their passions, their life experiences, and their stories. As writer Frederick Buechner once said, the story of any one of us is in some measure the story of us all. All of us can learn something valuable from someone else's life and their stories. Join us for another conversation where we learn, laugh, and leave, seeing our own life in new ways. What's more rad than that? All right. Hey, welcome to another episode of That's So Rad podcast. And I'm with a rad guest today. I'm Travis, your host, and I'm joined today by my friend Wes Hardin, who comes to us today from Florida. Wes is, among many things, which we'll unpack more in this podcast, but he's a physician assistant, an outdoor adventurer, a world traveler, a science enthusiast, and he's got some good dad jokes up his sleeve as well. He's also a spoken word poet. Man, we got a lot to unpack. So welcome to the podcast, Wes.
Thank you so much, Travis. This is such a great pleasure, man.
Awesome.
It's a great excuse to just hang out with you, man, and talk. We always get along so well, and This is great. I'm just so grateful.
Well, I'm grateful for you. You're a busy guy, and just with your practice and stuff, to have sort of your day off to join me for this means a lot. So add on, Wes,
well,
anything else?
Really well too. I mean, you're it's amazing that you offer. It's like, wow, really?
Well, after we get into it further, you may have second thoughts on that. But what did I miss at the beginning? What do you want to add on about family or anything else about your life to set things up?
Oh, about my family, I am so grateful, man. I'm so blessed. I've been married to my beautiful wife, Krista, my high school sweetheart. We've been married this year will be 25 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Huge. We're old. But we got married at 21 in 2001. And we've been going strong ever since. We dated for like 5 years before we got married. And so we also have 3 beautiful kids. They're getting big, especially my son, Jack. He just turned 14 this week, and he's big, literally. Like, he's like 1 inch shorter than me. He's almost 6 foot.
Dang.
At 14. And he's playing basketball now, and he's a literal piano virtuoso. He's just brilliant.
Very cool.
And then we have, we'll go in order, Melody Jane. She's 18 now, and she's already a junior in college because of the dual enrollment with homeschooling. And she's also teaching now at Pure Barre, which is like a workout thing for girls, and she's there now actually with Krista, leading her in a class, which is kind of crazy.
Nice. That's crazy.
And then she also helps lead worship at church, which is great. And
awesome.
And then our beautiful daughter Hannah is 20, and that's just crazy. She just got accepted into a local master's degree program for marriage and family therapy, which she'll start in the fall as a 20-year-old.
Amazing.
And she's just amazing too. She is really multi-talented, super artistic, type 4 Enneagram, and she's really good at just about anything she touches. She was a really amazing dancer, as Melody was, and she now is going to use her art skills in helping people with therapy, doing art therapy, and she volunteers. She and Melody both volunteer, but Hannah's actually an intern for Bridge of Life. It's a foster care and adoption ministry.
Oh, cool! Wow.
So they stay busy. These kids, they keep us busy too.
Yeah.
We have a lot of fun together, though. We just went for Jack's birthday to the new epic Universal Studios park.
Sweet.
It was literally epic, man. You got to go sometime.
Okay.
Crazy cool. Amazing.
What was some of the best part of it, or what made it so epic?
Oh, I mean, we were like Potterheads, we love Harry Potter movies and the books, and their new Harry Potter park there, they have one in each of the 3, is just like you're literally in the movie. It's just giant.
Wild.
And it's like, I don't even know how big this thing has to be, like many hundreds of acres, just huge, just to get on the one roller coaster.
Jeez.
But it's so awesome, man. Yeah, it's so realistic. And then they have like a whole Mario world now there.
Okay.
and it's like you're in original Mario Brothers,
Wow.
with like
That's
these,
awesome.
spinning coins everywhere, and the big blocks that you can walk up underneath, and there's like a rubber thing that you can punch it to make it go bling, bling, bling,
Dang. So crazy. Man.
Yeah. I
And that
kept
takes
looking
us
for
back to our
the
youth.
invisible one somewhere, but I didn't find one. People
Oh
thought I
man,
was
that's
crazy,
wild.
probably.
That's
But
a
just,
great, yeah.
46, you're looking for that one up, I need that.
Well, I was just going to add that because I think you and I, from my memory, are the same age. I mean, you were born, actually, we're in the same month even, right? You're an August birthday?
August
79?
1979.
79. We're 70s boys with
Wow.
Jimmy Carter was our president. I mean, we go back now. So,
That's olden
um,
days.
I
Yeah.
think I'm more gray, but
Nope, I'm just keeping it short. You would see it.
okay. Yeah, I know.
I look like Kenny Rogers if I grow my beard out, man.
Well, I'm
And if
Willie
you're not
Nelson.
26, you don't know who Kenny Rogers is.
Yeah, yes. Well, actually, okay, so another thing I want to add to that is being kind of, there's a lot of nostalgia in this podcast and sort of, 80s and 90s and things like that. When is the last time you feel like you said the word rad? Was that in your vernacular at all?
Probably when I started watching episodes of your podcast, I would say it.
It's made a comeback now.
You brought it back, man. You did it.
There's for people that love like words, which you do. We're going to talk more about that. I got to send you this. I should just put this link up. There's a guy, he's actually a national writer. He's written in, I think Time just some pretty big publications. He wrote an essay on the history of the word rad. And it's it sounds like it's like, okay, but it's really smart and like one of the best pieces of writing I've ever, I mean, I'm biased.
No doubt it.
The
Yeah,
title.
I would love to read that.
It's amazing.
I got to read that.
Yeah. So,
Great.
well, let's just get right into a little of the setup of just our, we've talked about some of, kind of who you are and some of your family. Briefly, as by way of just setting up how we know one another, and it's a pretty new friendship.
Yeah,
man,
relatively speaking.
What, a couple of years. So the intro of it is
even a few years, man. Time flies, but still, 3 years is
You're
not
right.
that long.
Yeah,
exactly. Born in 1979.
That's right, man. It's just a blur now. So, your wife, Krista Hardin, has an amazing podcast and coaching business for relationships and couples. Yeah. And so I know that's how my wife led me to check out her podcast and Enneagram and Marriage. Check it out. I'll have the link. It's awesome. And then really doing some, doing some coaching work, which for us personally. And so I've really talented, as you know. And so really, but it was through Krista, your wife, that then one time we're down your way, near Tampa.
Yeah.
For a vacation, and you got drug along to go on this weird blind double date together.
That was really a surprise. Yeah. She's like, by the way, we're going to meet this couple that I know. And I'm like, okay. And then we went to Stillwater's. That was a really good restaurant. We love that place.
Yes.
And just like instantly hit it off, man. We were all laughing our heads off and eating really good food. And
oh man,
then we went for this walk on the pier, which is just gorgeous in St. Pete. If you haven't been down here, man, that pier is amazing. It's world class.
It was beautiful.
The view of the city skyline, all this tall skyscrapers and stuff. It was a really great night, man.
It was awesome.
It's really great hearing your story too. That's what I learned about what you do and your history and Jeremy's story, and you just blew me away, man. Yeah, it was really inspiring.
Yeah, well said, and mutually of just hearing your story too, and just kind of it's those fun moments where it's kind of a little courageous and like kind of like wild to you sort of meet new people that you're just like out at a restaurant, you're like, okay, we're just gonna hang out and see how this goes. But so yeah, we had a great time, and then actually through that, and this is really inspiring to me and amazing looking back, is that I think it was last year. You took a journey from your neck of the woods to come all the way up to Spartanburg, South Carolina, to see Jeremy and bring this amazing technology and bring that along, man. And so which we're still, you and I just talked about, it's really untapped at this point for Jeremy, but the possibilities are there and it's huge. And just that you drove
Apple
up.
Vision Pro, it's just really incredible technology. And it's not really caught on a lot in terms of like sales. They don't sell a lot of them, but it's probably because like there's a limited application that's where it's really needed. But it seems like people with different disabilities are really going to find this quite helpful. And so that's like a niche that I wonder if they knew in advance would be, where it would really be needed most. And so, I mean, he could surf the internet, listen to music, use all the apps that Apple has, typing texts and emails, or even writing in Google Docs, with his eyes.
It's amazing.
Alone. Without using his voice or hands or anything else.
Right.
It's really wonderful, amazing technology. Science used for the benefit of mankind right there, man.
There you go.
Glory of God,
Right. 100%.
Yeah.
So so that was an amazing weekend where you drove all the way up, brought that. We sort of had this demo session with Jeremy, and it was really fun. And then
you got to watch that video. It's like virtual reality where you're right. He loved that. Yeah.
And then he painted some stuff for you guys, and then we went hiking, and it was just awesome. And so
it was. Yeah, we went for a great hike. That was very cool.
Good times.
I could definitely use that again. Who knows? Maybe this fall would be good when the leaves are changing and stuff. That would be a really nice time to come up.
We got to get you back up here and then get to Orlando, Tennessee, and we got to get back down to Florida. So we'll see what we can make happen. All right. So back to you and your world. Before we get more into your career, what is something that few would know about Wes? Strange fear, hidden talent, weird habit.
Well, I think something that not that many people know, because I have like a serious job, I work in medicine. And, I'm always talking about science and apologetics and stuff, and these kind of like serious topics. But Krista and I we make mystery dinner party game kits. So we have a little side business since 2006, actually, called Supper Sleuths. We're the Supper Sleuths, and suppersleuths.com or mysterypartykits.com. You could see our kits there. And so we've made these games. They're hilarious fun, where everybody dresses up in costume in different crazy characters that we made. And, you read from scripts that we provide and share clues all over the course of like a 4-course meal. And we try to, recommend recipes that are appropriate to the theme and so on. Dude, we have had so much fun doing that over the last 20 years. And we've sold kits to literally the entire world. Like we have people from Alaska, from Australia, from India, from, the UK, of course. They love mystery there. And it's really awesome. We see these pictures come back of these groups of, 10, 20 people all dressed up, acting crazy, and that has been something that's really helped Krista and I to stay close to each other. Like, marriage can be really stressful.
Yeah.
There's always something stressful to think about and talk about on your dates and stuff. But that's something creative and fun and silly and ridiculous that we can talk about anytime. We could say, let's start chipping away on that one next game we're making called the Birthday Blowout, about a pizza place or something, and so you come up with silly character names, and then you start coming up with crazy background stories for each one, and it's so fun.
That is awesome. Yeah. I didn't know. Okay, I knew you kind of you did it locally, and then you kind of created sort of this, but I didn't realize it was a full business. You have a website, you're shipping worldwide.
We've been doing that for a long time. It was just something we did with our friends to surprise them back in 2006, because we played one that was just really cheesy and terrible. And we're like, we had so much fun doing this, but the game was terrible. But we still had a great time. Imagine how much fun we would have if it was actually well written.
Yeah.
So we
Well, that's
start
why
writing
people
in there.
write books sometimes. It's like this book doesn't
It's like
exist,
that.
so let's
Yeah.
actually write a book people will need or I need. So
Yeah, it's like
I love
that. It's
that.
like that.
Yeah,
And actually the last two we've started to use as kind of ministry tools. So the
cool.
last two have actually been with these you wouldn't know if unless you're really looking for it, but the characters all have names that are like biblical characters,
Okay.
like Mose Stafford, Dave Shepherd,
Okay.
Esther Crown, like that kind
Yeah.
of thing, Eve Appleton, So that one game has all these movie stars and a movie producer and a director and a lawyer and, all these crazy characters that come together because they're actors, so they can be so different. And everyone
Yeah.
wants to dress up like Hollywood.
Right.
So it's a really fun game about a Hollywood movie premiere, but really each character has names and characteristics that are like their biblical counterpart if you're looking
Cool.
for it.
Okay.
They deceive the victim in the same way that character actually deceived Jesus or God in the Bible. And there's kind of like it all comes together in like a gospel message
Wow.
twist without actually using the
Sure.
word gospel,
Yeah.
So it could be an outreach for youth groups or, small groups or whatever. And that's actually what has been happening. And so we've done it with our church, two churches, over the years. And then, we see other churches doing it. And so that's been kind of cool, because not only are people having a really hilarious, fun time, but it could actually be a ministry tool.
Sure.
So,
Man, multifaceted. Wow. And
yeah,
like the layers and dang, that's super rad.
you know,
It's I'm gonna have that link. So suppersleuths.com. Is that
yes,
what? Okay.
SUPPERSLEUTHS. Or it's easier to remember our other website for the same thing. It's called mysterypartykits.com.
Okay.
And man, seriously, if you or any of your listeners want to have a game, I would love to just give them one. Just email. The email is on there,
Oh, sweet.
suppersleuths@gmail.com.
Okay.
Just email me and say, hey, I heard you on That's So Rad, and I would love to play this game. We'll just send you a kit for free.
Man,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Very cool. Well, I'm learning something. I didn't.
So that's something.
Yeah.
New.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, let's turn this now into, kind of into looking at your life more and your career, and you've already talked some about this, but as far as being a doctor or a physician assistant, man, where did that come about? Where did that desire to become a practitioner of medicine?
Yeah, it's been kind of an up and down, roundabout thing, but growing up, I really loved school. I just seemed to thrive on the structure of it. Like you have this assignment to do. I'm a type 1 personality in the Enneagram, and I didn't know that as a kid, but it was like I loved being taught or coached. I loved making my parents proud, my teacher proud, my coach proud. Like I thrive on that, and I like having a real definite, I know what I'm supposed to be doing, and then when I do it well, you get a pat on the head and it just feels great, So I would get really good grades. And my dad is not college educated. He's from Kentucky. And, what do you do when you're smart? You're going to be a doctor, and it's like, okay, that's what you're going to do. So that's what he said I'm supposed to do. And so I was like, well, I would just start telling people, I think I'm going to be a doctor, but I hardly ever went to the doctor, maybe once every 5 years or something. I didn't even know what that was like.
Sure.
But I thought it's going to pay well. I'm going to help people. That's great. So when I got I did well in high school. I got to graduate, up there towards the top at Salutatorian, give a speech, and got a free ride to Wayne State in Detroit. That's where we're from. And so I did the pre-med track, and then 9/11 hit, and I'm in the middle of this downtown city, and it was just,
wow,
traumatic for everybody, but especially in the big cities, my mom's on the phone, get out of there, screaming at me like, okay, what happened,
Yeah.
And so on. And so it didn't really affect me as much as probably a lot of people. But then soon after, so I'm in a microbiology class and other biology classes, and I had we were studying, Krista and I, listening to this sexy voice in the night, Alan Almond on 100.3, you know, while we were listening to, and they had this break for like a news flash, you know, how they do sometimes. And it was like the radio was just quietly in the background. I'm just studying, you know, reading about bacteria. And then they talk about the anthrax scare. Do you remember this?
I do. Yep.
They were sending anthrax in envelopes in like a white powder to like Congress, you know, and stuff like that. Some terrorists were doing that. And I didn't know much about anthrax. I knew a very tiny bit, and that's dangerous, you know, when you know just a little bit.
Right.
And so instantly I started fearing a pandemic of anthrax, which is super deadly and we're all dead, you know?
Yeah.
And I just started to feel this wave over me. And it was like my first panic attack. I was just shaking uncontrollably. I had to go diarrhea.
Yeah.
I was, you know, unable to sleep for like days, you know, it was just like horrible. And Krista's trying to calm me down and she was so supportive, but she couldn't. So I had to go to the doctor and get some medication, you know, to calm me down.
Yeah.
And started doing counseling. And I did that for like, you know, at least a year or so. And then we moved out to Wheaton and I went to get a master's in theology there. And she got a master's in psychology. And so I continued the counseling and the medication. And I started to really focus and learn about, you know, all of the Bible verses, all of the stories of, you know, men of faith who were like martyrs and all of these people who had courage, you know, just to learn more about the spiritual reasons to not be anxious, you know, to build that ammo up inside of me, you know, that defense. And so it was really helpful. And I started teaching at a high school in the worst part of Chicago, South Side, you know. They were desperate to have all new staff, but I was desperate for money. We were like in our second year of grad school. And I had no teaching experience, no college, or no teaching certificate, but they didn't care. They're like, you have a degree in biology and we need a science teacher in chemistry and physics. So that'll work.
Jump in.
So I'm 23 and I'm teaching these 18 and 19-year-old seniors physics, you know, and I'm as white as they come. And I'm in Southside Chicago in a school that was intentionally for just African-American students. It was a Franciscan school, a wonderful, you know, place.
Sure.
But I really, you know, had to I had to earn my place there.
Yeah.
You know, they needed to see that I was going to not leave. Like 3 English teachers across the hall and 2 principals in that 1 year.
Left.
So I didn't leave after about a month. They saw I wasn't going anywhere and I really wanted to help. I started raising money for computers and raised money to take them to Six Flags for Physics Day and got all this chemistry equipment. I had people come from University of Chicago and Northwestern from their physics departments. The colleges come in and do demonstration shows for them.
Wow.
It was really fun for that 1 year, you know?
Wow.
And so it was a wonderful experience. But all the while, I'm like, God's like building my courage, you know? Like I'm having to, you know, travel an hour and 45 minutes and then walk, sometimes in the dark in this really, really rough place. Sometimes students threatening me at the beginning of the year before I earned their respect.
Yeah.
You know, literally like you're getting scraped on the way home, you know, because I would catch him cheating or something. But he was building me up, you know, helping me to have courage. And I'm doing this counseling and all of that. And so Krista's mom ended up having a stroke. And so we had to move back to Metro Detroit after we graduated. And I continued teaching, but this time in downtown Detroit, teaching science. And but around that time, there's another science teacher there who gave me a copy of a book. She's like, you got to read this. It's called Mountains Beyond Mountains. It's about this Dr. Paul Farmer. Have you heard this book? It's really inspiring. It's a true story. This is a guy who was like a missionary to Haiti, you know, poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, was plagued with TB, and he learned more about TB and how to cure it than anybody in
Wow.
history. And not a Christian, but just
Mm-hmm.
somebody who was a real humanitarian.
Mm-hmm.
And he had such courage to go there and be at risk of this deadly disease that we didn't have really good treatment for. And it was so inspiring, his courage to face this disease.
Yeah.
It was a kind of a pneumonia like
Yeah.
anthrax, and it just really moved me. And I'm like, I got to get more books like this. This is amazing. So I was telling somebody at church, and they're like, oh, you got to read this other book, this book called 10 Fingers for God. It's about a missionary to the lepers of India.
Okay.
Another Paul, Dr. Paul Brand. And he was a great Christian missionary. And he went over there to this disease, to the untouchables, literally in India, the lowest class, and ministered to them and learned more about how leprosy works and treatments for that than anyone since Jesus,
Yeah.
and never wore gloves, never contracted leprosy like miraculously after working with them for several decades. But it was like the most amazing, beautiful, touching stories, moving, about his love and compassion, this real Christ-like love. And I started seeing these guys that had, they were facing disease just like anthrax, but they're intentionally going and being exposed to it, not as victims, but as heroes.
Yeah.
As people who are going in to do something about it. And if I die, I'm dying. I'm going down as a hero.
Right.
That was their attitude. Like, I'm going down helping people and trying to save the world. And it just clicked, man. It changed. It's like so much of anxiety is about your frame of mind, your frame of reference.
Right.
And if you just change that perspective,
right.
You see it in a new light. That's our motto for our counseling center. Try to see your life in a new light. If you just see it in a new light, it changes everything.
Yeah.
And suddenly I wasn't afraid to face disease anymore, and I said, I think I would like to try to go back and do this medicine thing, And Krista was quite relieved because it's hard to survive on a private school science teacher salary if you have kids and a mortgage and school loans and stuff like that. But
sure,
you could do it, but it's so I went back to school, and she really was amazing in supporting me because I couldn't do anything but study for those 2 years in the PA program. And I got a master's degree in medicine to become a physician assistant at Wayne State. And that was in 2011 that I graduated. And now here we are in 2026, and I got to practice in family medicine through a real pandemic. Yeah. Not an imagined anthrax pandemic, but a real pandemic. COVID was scary, and we had no idea how to treat it and who it was going to hurt because it seemed so random and who it was taking out. And you want to know something? I had not one speck of anxiety through the entire pandemic. Not one panic attack, not one even close to it, because God had changed my perspective, and he was calling me to this as a mission, as a hero, to help fight this fight. And so
amazing.
I'm just so grateful. That's how I got back into it, is because God healed me of this paralyzing anxiety disorder. And I haven't needed medication for that since 20 years ago. So
wow,
I'm just so grateful.
What a journey.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I knew some pieces of that, but even the description of your teaching, it was like, I love the movie Freedom Writers. It's kind of an older movie about an inner city teacher that kind of, like you said, earns credibility, dangerous place, so much redemption and what she brings. But then for the arc of that whole story was just amazing, of like overcoming.
Thanks, man. I'm grateful to God. It's like he's really brought me through all of that. he opened up doors that there's no way in heck should have opened. Like, to land the teaching job in Chicago, like, I had zero experience, zero certification. And then in Detroit, when we had to move, I got a job at a really amazing college prep school, U of D Jesuit, in inner city Detroit, where they take like half the students on scholarship from inner city Detroit, but then half are like these really super rich kids, you know, from another side of town that are like third generation students in this old school. But there's no way I deserve that position, you know? And for some reason, the guy said, I think I want to give you the job. Wow. And then getting into PA school, like, I didn't have nearly enough experience. They want you to have so many hours. Like, they take a lot of people who are EMTs or nurses or something. And I'm like, I volunteered in a homeless shelter medical clinic for on the weekends for 6 months. And they were like, okay, we'll take you.
That's,
you know what I mean? It was like, God opened all these doors. It's like he wanted it to happen. So
amazing.
He gets the glory, man.
That is amazing. Well, and I'm like imagining too, you, like, as you described, as you get to this like pandemic now of like, wow, like the training, the things that you were kind of built and God shaping you for, and then you get to this kind of, is this your Alamo moment? I mean, here it is.
This is the testing. Yeah, right here.
Here we go. What's going to go down? But I'm sure that not only your ability to sort of fight your own personal anxiety, and how that form has shaped you to be a doctor in that space, to then be in, because as much of it was about obviously treating, but a lot of it had to have been about just helping manage others' anxiety. I mean, what is going on, Dr. Wes? I mean, what do I do? I'm so scared. I mean,
my job. Yeah. Oh my goodness, a huge part. I mean, anxiety, depression, addiction, grief. It's a really big part of my job. I mean, probably every fourth or fifth person who comes in the door is dealing with that.
Wow.
You know, in their problem list. And I prescribe medicines for that because they're very helpful, useful bridges. Sometimes people just stay on them, and that's fine. I mean, if it's useful, it's cheap, it's available, safe. But a lot of people use it as a bridge while they're just sorting out whatever they need to sort out, you know, to reframe their triggers, or to get some good therapy, or they just know this stress is going to pass, whatever it is, you know. And so that's a big part of my job, you know, and that is a real privilege. And I see it that way, you know, to be let in to that part of people's lives. Because, you know, that's private, you know, and you're in this little tiny room with the door closed, and it's like, oh my goodness. I mean, it's amazing what people share from all walks of life.
Sure.
And I mean, I see, like I said, I volunteered in the homeless shelter, you know, for my experience to get into PA school. But since then, I've seen a lot of homeless people, because they're, you know, every city has homeless, and then they come in, or people who are just really destitute. And I see people who are also mega super rich and wealthy and powerful, like literally pro baseball players, football players, basketball players, super, you know, famous celebrities that I can't tell you from Hollywood, and you know, real estate developer moguls and stuff like that. I'm in Lakewood Ranch. This is like one of the wealthiest cities in the country right now, and it doesn't matter. All those extremes and everything in between. Everybody is human, and everybody deals with the same basic issues, you know. And we're all prone to the same anxieties, the same triggers for depression, the same things that grieve us. We're all prone to addictions of the same kinds. And we all need help with that. And a lot of the time we need physical help with medication, with, you know, cognitive behavioral therapy or whatnot. But we all also need spiritual help. You know? And, you know, I'm not able to always share with everybody on that level. Sometimes I am, you know, especially if they ask for it, or I know the person well, and so on. But I also pray for all of them. You know, when I put that stethoscope to listen on their heart, which I have to do for everyone, no matter what they're coming in for, I'm praying for that heart,
Wow.
and I hear that heartbeat. I just say, God,
Hmm.
please, heal this person from their anxiety, their depression, their cancer, whatever they're dealing with, and may they be brought closer to you from this, may
Hmm.
it be like C.S. Lewis says, the pain that is God's megaphone that
Right.
rouses them,
Yeah.
to see their need for you, and that
Hmm.
they would call to you and meet you in this.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a big part of my job,
Yeah.
So I'm grateful to get to be there to do it. And I'm grateful that God has strengthened me with my own healing. He's brought me
Hmm.
through it so that I can be over on the other side,
Right.
calling to them saying, hey, you can make it. Come on over here.
Right.
I'm on the other side and you can get here too, and I can help pull them out of the pit, if you will. So
I've got a question. So, balancing the tension of, the in a way, as you described, sort of being the hero in a way of like being gifted to and motivated to sort of be there to help people at their worst and help, whether it's healing disease or treating or diagnosing. Um, where for you being a doctor is the
it's and medical provider. I just want to make sure
yeah
everybody knows. Like as a PA, I'm a mid-level provider, so I'm a
mid-level.
medical provider. So as a medical provider,
Sure, yeah,
I'm
but I
sorry,
mean,
man,
still
but I got to
that's
make sure that yeah.
yeah. Okay, so for coding purposes on this podcast, we're gonna no.
As a
But
medical provider, yeah.
but as a medical provider, um, where then is also the I guess the tension, or how do you also deal with maybe and maybe you don't, but over wearing the cape, or uh, if I don't if I don't get to the source of this and I know you're not alone as a treatment provider, but sort of kind of at least the first
Yeah.
frontline eyes,
Mm.
how much of that do you take home or lay awake of like your Sherlock Holmes, or you're just like, oh, if I can,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like bearing the
Yeah.
weight of that. Is that
It is a heavy weight, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. This is somebody's wife or
yeah,
grandmother or sister, it's like, it's not just a number. This is actually somebody's family member, someone's loved one. And so it's a really big responsibility because, you know, in family medicine, you're supposed to be looking at the whole person,
mm-hmm.
the whole body.
Right,
It's not a specialty where I get to just only worry about the gastrointestinal
yeah,
system. And if it's something else, I'm sorry, it's
true,
not my specialty. You're going to have to go, you know what I mean?
right,
Like, yeah, so it's a lot. I mean, the human body is the most complex contraption in all of creation. There's a lot to keep track of, um, and you can't keep track of everything or notice everything. I mean, we're very limited humans. We only have so much observational ability to
yep,
see, to hear, to feel, to notice the imaging in the labs can only see so much too.
sure, yeah,
That we
yeah,
have right now, and so I tell my patients, we're going to do the best we can with what we have. That's
yeah,
all we can do.
yeah,
But I am going to give you my very, very best.
yeah,
Every visit, every patient, every time. That's what I do. I give them my very best. And so I will take everything that I've learned, everything that I have access to as far as tools
mm-hmm.
to figure this out. And we have to trust God with the rest,
Right,
and of course, refer out to specialists or,
sure,
or so on if we can't figure something out. But in terms of that whole process and knowing that like there are going to be things that we do miss,
right,
just because we're limited and it's
yeah,
inevitable.
yeah,
And that is for some reason in God's good providence, the way he set it up. He,
yeah,
he has some good reason, takes
mm-hmm.
pleasure even in our being limited,
Right,
in what we're able to do. And so I really believe that. And I have to believe that to console myself for times
yeah,
when I miss
yeah,
something or when I don't even know if I did miss something.
yeah,
There's like, it's like you see so many strange things after you've been practicing so long. I've been doing this since 2011, so it's been 15 years. And so I've seen thousands of patients, and so you can't help but see strange stuff. It's like, this guy came in, he had a bicycle accident, and he was riding his bike with his wife, and he ran into a little low-hanging branch. And, so that made him fall off his bike, which then he smashed his face and like got all these cuts on his face, and he was an older guy and like in his early 80s. And so I was taking his stitches out. And after every visit or during every visit, I listen to your heart and lungs. And I always listen on the carotids because that's what you're told to do,
Yep.
And I just was doing my routine thing. He was here for falling off his bike and scratching his face. So I listen here and I hear this. I'm like, that sounds like a blockage,
Ooh.
Sir, this sounds like a bad block. You need to get an ultrasound right away. So we set one up to be done in our office. It was 97% blockage.
Ooh.
He could have had a stroke that killed him any second. Like,
wow.
You know what I mean? Wow. Saved his life.
Man.
I noticed it. And I felt good about that. He came back, him and his wife crying, just like thanking me. And I'm like, thank God, that he used me to find this because I might not have,
right.
Like, it's like, you weren't here for that at all.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, a woman she came in she had just some little pain, here. And it's like, she works out a lot. She's really fit. She was only in like her early 40s. And I'm like, you probably strained a muscle or whatever, you know what I mean? But we'll just do an x-ray just to see maybe you broke a rib or something. You can do that if you have osteoporosis and don't know it, and it was a tumor inside her bone, metastatic.
Wow.
Stage 4. It's like,
no, man.
You know what I mean? Like, why would you expect something like that?
Right.
And it's like, you could drive yourself crazy thinking, I have to do a complete full body MRI, full workup on every single person who comes in the door, because they could be one of those zebras,
right. Yeah.
You heard that term before? It's like, could be a zebra. Like if you hear hoofs, it's probably a horse.
Right.
It could be a zebra.
It could be a zebra.
It's like, what are the odds it's a zebra? Well, it could. And you know what? Sometimes it is. So we have to always be cognizant of that and open to that and being thorough and taking time with our patients. But we can't be paranoid.
Yeah.
And let it make you crazy, because if you're doing the best you can with what you have, then you don't have to feel guilty. I mean, I really do think there's a sovereign God who is in charge. And my job is just to use the gifts and abilities that he's given me, the opportunities he gives me to the best of my ability, like the good steward with his talents, and he'll take care of the rest. There have been good stories too, by the way, those are a couple really scary ones,
right.
And I could give you literally 100 more, but
I'm sure
there's been a lot of really good stories too, of patients who were doing a routine chest x-ray and we see all of these masses, like tons of them. And I'm like, oh God, I hate these conversations. They're just not fun, but we got to do it, And so I tell them, this really looks bad. You have a lot of masses in your lungs, but we don't know what they are.
Right.
So we're going to do a follow-up PET scan. They do PET scan positive, showing these could be cancer all through your lungs. Like, oh God, so you're going to go get a biopsy. So they do the bronchoscopy biopsy. Turns out to be a strange fungal infection,
Wow.
Okay. We take antifungals and shrink those and get back to normal lung function. Like, you don't have cancer. Like, it was the most wonderful news to share with them. You know what I mean? That it was like everybody was scared to death. Like, you have every reason to be thinking this is cancer.
Right.
And very unusual, fungal thing. Like, that is a zebra for sure, but a good one.
Yeah. Because it was like the other examples in reverse. Right. Wow. It's so unpredictable. You don't know what's going to be.
And there's been a lot of stories like that. And so that also helps me to keep each step of the diagnostic process intention, like we need to take this seriously, but you never know. This might not be that bad because I've seen it happen, So taking it seriously, but only taking it one step at a time. This is what I know right now, but I'm not going to worry about the future. I'm not made to worry about that. Jesus says, take no thought for tomorrow for a reason.
Right.
We're not made to handle that. I'm going to focus on right here, right now. This is what I know. And what has he given me to do right now? Well, right now, you're sitting in front of me, so I'm going to give you my 100% and do everything I can to help you.
Yeah.
And then the next person I see, I'm going to help them, and then them. And that helps, to just keep it in little bite size.
Yeah, man.
Like Bob Wiley, baby steps. Right?
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, that's really, I love how you've really articulated just, your paradigm of being practicing medicine, and just the ways in which I guess you're able to kind of hold that intention. Also the safety net of sort of, God's sovereignty over missed things, or just things that, we're limited, like you said. So really fascinating to take a peek into kind of your own experience of kind of juggling all that.
I know that really well. It's been a great adventure. I'm just so grateful, to be part of these stories, because not a lot of people get to see this kind of stuff, and to see, I've seen some miracles too, man. I'm not kidding. Listen, I am a science guy. Like I am all about hard evidence, objective data, not just subjective, experience. And like I've seen really good evidence of at least a couple miracles in medical practice. And it was like, you're just like shaking afterwards, like, oh my God, literally, I think you just gave me one of those winks that we don't deserve. He's given us far enough evidence from creation and from stories of the testimonies in the Bible, but he loves us so much that now and again he gives us those little winks, like I'm still here and I'm still active in the world.
Right.
And so that's been really wonderful to see too. One guy had some really nasty Parkinson's symptoms, and he had a strong family history, and he was shaking his hand, was starting with the little pill rolling tremor, as you would expect in just the one hand. And he's like, what do I do, doc? I'm like, well, there's not much we can do right now except just kind of watch. You can stay, fit, exercise, quality sleep's really important. B vitamins, all the routine stuff.
Right.
We're going to do some diagnostics, some imaging and stuff like that. But it'd be good for you to follow up with a neurologist too, So I sent him to who was really the best neurologist in the area at the time. She was teaching part-time, and now she went to being a professor full-time. Okay. She's that good, that she was in demand. And so, but she started seeing him. And so I was seeing these notes, and it was like, patient comes in, tremors worse. Now it's his whole hand, and it's really difficult for him to stop shaking. And then the next one was, now the patient, his legs trembling as well. He's got both his arm and his leg, and it's just progressing rapidly. And when it's progressing rapidly, that's a worse prognosis with Parkinson's, Okay. It's, you don't want it to progress rapidly. So he then the next note was saying patient's head is now with a tremor. It was like, and he's got real stiff muscles, his arm, on the one side. And then the next note says, patient comes in. I can hardly recognize him. He has no tremor at all. He's holding his hand out. It's perfectly still. His head is still. His leg is still. And I ask him, she's writing this in the note. She's like, what happened? He said that he went to a prayer service at his church. He's Pentecostal. And he said that they anointed him with oil and prayed over him. She's typing this in as a neurologist, and says that after the prayer was over, his tremor was gone. And he says that he thinks he was healed by God. And she said, as a doctor, as a medical provider, I have no other explanation from this. It must have been a miracle. And that's what she wrote in her note. You know, I saw him after that and I'm like, Mike, what in the world? You know, and he shared his testimony with me and it was just like, wow. Man. I mean, Parkinson's is a progressive neurological disease and there's no known cure. And, but we serve a great God who made the human body and can do whatever he wants. You know, again, why did Jesus only heal some people and not others in the Bible? Right. He would say, I'm not going to go to that city today, or I'm not going to, and we don't know. We don't know. He had his reasons. They're good reasons, whatever they are. And it's the same today. Like there are people who really could use healing and he's choosing not to for a good reason. And he's going to let us know why and make it worth it. I believe that in the end.
100%.
You know, Paul says, you know, we have an eternal weight of glory that far outweighs any tribulation, any troubles and trials that we're going through right now, right? Yeah. It's going to far outweigh them all.
Yeah.
You know, an eternal weight of glory.
It reminds me of, I was just having a conversation last night at our church. We were the Monday, Thursday, and one of the guys at the church is an oncology surgeon. And we were talking about like cancer patients and sort of, you know, some of just the journey of that. And he had this great line where he talked about, you know, so often in his practice, you know, you're hearing the stories of people fighting. And that's part of it. You know, there's this motivational energy of fighting against this thing, right? And you've even alluded to that. But he said it's almost like, and now as a surgeon, he's hearing this, like we can and as a believer as well, that we can almost over glamorize those that are fighting as sort of the, kind of, we can put them on a pedestal. And he said he was impacted recently by this woman who sort of is kind of giving up the fight in a way. Not that she doesn't want to not live, but she's living into eternity and sort of saying, this isn't the end. And how profound that touched him as a doctor to go, wow, you know, that's a whole nother dimension of maybe she's living louder and bigger. And you know what I mean? Like, because her shortness of life, isn't to say, I have to give everything I have because this is all there is. She's going, there's more coming. I'm not done if God willing. But I was just like really struck by that. And you kind of have kind of said something.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's the truth. Paul says the suffering of this present time is not worthy to be compared to the glory which will be revealed in us, you know? If we really believe that, then it makes it easier, you know, to endure.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm not somebody who really can say that from experience enough, you know. Jeremy, he could tell us if that's true. He's showing us that that's true, you know?
Yeah.
He's a really great example to us of that. I believe that.
Yeah, I mean, his mantra really is joy in despair. I mean, this idea, right. And he would name that. That's his website. Like that. I'm not saying, you know, sort of this. He's accepting reality. I'm in a hard, dark place. This is the space I occupy. I'm not over glamorizing that just because I love Jesus and know Jesus and he's in my life, that darkness fades away. It's gone. It is here, but I'm not alone. The light is with me. Jesus is with me.
That's right.
And
yeah,
it's awesome. So it's living in that tension.
It's beautiful.
We could continue to talk about, I mean, you could talk all day about amazing stories, more miracles, more, I mean, your heart, the exuded passion is just coming so much out of what you're doing in this. And I can tell that your patients are in good hands. Talking more about the origin of, even as you explained, getting into the practice of, you know, you're in the medical realm, but science being such a catalyst for you. There is when I think of science, oh, by the way, as you see, we're both wearing your science swag here.
That's a nice shirt.
It is a nice shirt. I was actually at somewhere hanging out and I had this on and it was a get to know you type of an event. Oh yeah, there we go. And this guy was like, I don't know your name, but you're the science guy apparently. And I'm like, well, you don't really know me then because I'm just wearing this shirt. But so I've gotten some good feedback on it. We're going to talk
That's
more
great.
about it. But there's a great line as we get into the world of science here for a little bit by a Swiss biologist who once said he spent the summer traveling only to get halfway across his backyard. Mm-hmm. I know you dig that.
That's so beautiful.
So, bring us into, you have a thing called Meaningful Science. You have a website, amazing resources. I was just on it yesterday. Bring us into your world of science, this whole thing that you've kind of developed called Meaningful Science, the shirt, all this stuff. Talk about that for a little bit.
Sure, I would love to. So, um, you know, I was a science teacher, so I was teaching science in Chicago for that first year, and then for 5 years at U of D Jesuit in Detroit. And um, I was also, I had just finished my master's in Christian theology at Wheaton, and so I really wanted to find a way to bridge the two. I loved science. I had a bachelor's in science at the time, and I also was a really big fan of a lot of Christian apologists and watching them debate and
Mm-hmm.
their seminars and reading their books. And I had done that in my undergraduate, like followed them, recruited them to come to our school and stuff like that because I was really into it. Someone had given me some VHS tapes in high school. My uncle was a pastor. He gave me some tapes of a creation scientist who was giving all these really amazing reasons to believe in young Earth creation, and I was just blown away by how interesting it was and how funny he was. And I was like, I want to be like that one day. And so when I went to undergrad at Wayne State, I joined InterVarsity Christian Fellowship. It's like a campus crusade kind of a thing. And we had a lot of fun there meeting, for small group studies, but also we had large group every week on campus. And so I said, we should bring one of these guys out to do like a debate. And so I called this guy who I was watching the videotapes, Kent Hovind, on the phone, and he was all in, and he asked me to find the best evolutionary biologists on the campus. And so I did that. And he was all in. And so we arranged this debate, and we had it in the ballroom in the student center, and it was standing room only.
Wow.
And it was just a really awesome event, and I was just like, this is great. I just love seeing all these people getting reasons to believe, and so we should do this again. So we started bringing other speakers in. I brought in Paul Nelson, who was a biologist and a really great writer and speaker. We brought in Philip Johnson. I don't know if you know who that is, but he was really big at the time in the early 2000s. He wrote Darwin on Trial and some other great books on intelligent design. He was one of the forerunners of the intelligent design movement.
Okay.
And some other big names like that. Like I think we brought in like 6 total, and throughout those 4 years. And I just was like, I really want to do this myself. I really would love to find my own niche that God has prepared me for to share. So when I went to Wheaton, I studied Christian theology, but it was with a focus on apologetics and the interaction with science and faith. So I read a lot of historical scientists. Like I started reading like Newton and Galileo, Copernicus. Like not a lot of people are reading those books,
right?
Actually reading their books. Like Robert Boyle wrote The Christian Virtuoso, how a man is assisted rather than offended by science in the Christian faith. Like, wow. Like the father of modern chemistry wrote a book about science and faith and how science strengthens one's faith. Like, really? I had no idea.
Yeah.
And so I read that, and I read I didn't like read all of the Principia, Newton's great work, which is like the greatest scientific work of all time, because it's so advanced that like Stephen Hawking could probably barely understand it. But I did read the sections where he would have his commentaries, like the intro, if you will, and he is talking about the Creator a lot, and Galileo, same thing. Copernicus. It was like all of everyone that I checked out was like, these guys really were doing science, not just to discover, how the world works, but like Galileo said, it was to study the book of God's works. He said we should study the book of God's word and the book of God's works because they go hand in hand,
Yeah.
And it was really motivating for me. So when I was teaching these students, and I was in Catholic schools in both times, a Franciscan school and a Jesuit school, I had the freedom to talk about that. I mean, a lot of these scientists were Catholic.
Sure.
But so when I would be teaching out of these textbooks and we would go over the laws of motion, I would first give a real quick lesson on who was Isaac Newton. And did you know that he wrote more about the Bible and prophecy than he did science and mathematics? Really? And share some of the quotes. In fact, I made a worksheet for the students, a section from the Principia. This is the greatest work of all time for science. And in this paragraph is all about how God's glory is revealed in the motion of the sun, moon, stars, and the planets, and how they're all guided by God, that God set all this up, and that he's just thinking God's thoughts after him. That's what science is.
It's beautiful.
And when we talked about Galileo, same thing. When we talked about, and so I made these worksheets for each of these great scientists that we're already learning about. Copernicus, he was a canon of the church. This was a minister, and he wrote about that a lot. In fact, a lot of people don't know, but so Copernicus discovered the mathematical reasons why we should think the sun is at the center and not the earth. So he's considered to be the very first to give objective reasons to believe this view, which was not believed at the time, and it was the Copernican revolution.
Sure. Yep.
And later, atheistic scientists said, we're going to name this the Copernican principle, the idea that we are nothing special. We're not at the center. There's nothing special about us. Copernicus would have hated that idea. He would have abhorred that. In fact, he gave theological reasons why he was even looking for the sun to be the center to begin with. The sun is the greatest light in the universe to him, and that's what God is, God should be at the center.
Yeah.
We're not. We're small. We're humble. We should not be at the center. He's imagining this is probably the way God would have set it up, and that's what made him look for this. And sure enough, the mathematics justified it, And the same goes for Galileo, who was, put under house arrest by the church, which was really these guys who were using the guise of the church to wield their own power, and they were not doing Christian things at all.
Yeah.
They were refusing to have an open mind, which is a very unchristian idea.
Sure.
Paul says, test all things and then hold to that which is good, And when you actually read Galileo's letters and his writing, you're like, this is a Christian. This was an in-house debate between, Galileo and these priests. And he was also, like I said, he was believing that he was only thinking God's thoughts after him and studying the book of God's works. And he was motivated by God's word to do that. And so the more I read from these scientists and was so excitedly sharing this with my students, I started to say, I should put this all together, into like a curriculum and a website and, make a YouTube channel and all that kind of stuff and make some videos and things. And this was back in 2000 and this is like 2005 5, 6, 7, like
Okay. Yeah.
YouTube had
Yeah.
just come out
Right.
and websites were very hard to make. And so it took a lot of work. And I didn't really stick with it that much on that end, but I still,
Mm-hmm.
would teach my students every single class. I would start with a lesson, and not only on that history part of it with these scientists, but then I started to learn why science was born in a culture saturated with the Christian worldview and not any other. And it was
Mm.
because the Christian worldview supports science with these presuppositions about reality
Yeah.
and about us. We have senses that we can trust and mind with reason that we can trust because we're made in the image of God.
Mm.
If we think that we're mere accidents, products of time plus chance and evolution, if we're merely just apes, in bigger bodies with bigger brains, like why trust the thoughts that you're thinking
Right.
have anything to do with reality? And
Yeah.
and I learned from reading that Charles Darwin really struggled with that,
Mm.
you know?
Yeah, because he came
And
from the church. He was a
yeah,
yeah.
but he struggled with that idea of why should I trust my thoughts if I'm not
Mm.
made in God's image, And there's a lot of other precepts. Why trust that what you observe here and now can be applied to other times and places, including anywhere else out millions of miles away? Maybe there's
Right.
different laws of physics that govern over there because there's different gods. If
Mm.
I come from a polytheistic
Right.
perspective, and that's why real empirical modern science didn't come out of the Greek culture or the Roman culture or the Egyptian culture or the Indian culture or, South American and African, because there's so much polytheism and you can't trust,
Right.
that it's going to work the same there. So uniformitarianism, which is essential to science and the scientific method, is like a very Christian idea. It's a
Yeah.
Judeo-Christian idea. I could give you a lot more examples, but I know we're running
Yeah.
low
No,
on time. But it was like
that's
I
good.
was so excited about this that I had to share it with my students. The motivations for doing science, and also the ethics for science, how it's applied. Technology is neutral. You can make a scientifically engineered baseball bat and use
Mm-hmm.
it to hit baseballs, or you can use it to hit someone in the balls.
Right. Right. Yes.
You
It's
can make
real.
a beautiful blade. You wanted me to bring a prop, so you can make
Here we
a
go.
beautiful blade using
Wow.
scientific engineering to make a great alloy
Amazing.
and tools to sharpen it. This is a really awesome sword. This is High King Peter's sword from the Chronicles of Narnia. See, there's Aslan.
Amazing. Dang. So
And
cool.
you can use this sword, you can use it to play Fruit Ninja with real fruit. You could use it to make, little tiny knives to cut cancers out and help people,
Mm-hmm.
or you can use it to hurt people,
Yeah.
and the tool can't tell you how to use it. Science can't define science, can't tell you how to use science. You have to go outside of science to philosophy and religion,
Mm.
and that's why science came out of a culture saturated with the Christian worldview, because all of these presuppositions and motivations and the morals to apply it, it was all Christian, and we still
Yeah.
need those things,
Yeah.
for to prevent using the technology we're still developing to hurt people,
Right.
and so that's where meaningful science came from, is from sharing with my students, and it's kind of branched off into different things over the years, and who knows what God has in store in the future, but that's what it's all about. It's about doing real science with real faith. That's our motto: real science, real
Real
faith.
science with real faith. I love it. And so I'll have a link to that. Definitely has your resources, some cool stuff. And I was thinking you could have a new shirt called She Blinded Me with Meaningful Science. There we go.
Genius.
Okay, so as we wind this conversation down, and by the way, that was a great kind of explanation around that and the basis for science and faith and their connection, the relationship. You have an amazing new, I guess, creative platform. Maybe this is kind of your new playground of creative merging of science and spoken word But the reason for my hope within series. So you have a series of videos. I looked Christmas, Resurrection, Moral Law, some other ones where you do combine this sort of reason, this apologetic reason with sort of the arts, sort of this poetic using words and set to music. Amazing. Some really cool stuff that really hits you differently because I guess it's a convergence of those places. Talk a little bit about that. And then I've got a final get you out of here
Thanks,
question.
Travis, for the opportunity, man, and for saying that. Yeah, I'm glad it's been a blessing to you. So, in studying apologetics and seeing so many of these amazing apologists speak, I was asking God, like, what is my role going to be? Because we're all made specially and uniquely to fill a place in God's house that only we can fill, and I'm like, what's my niche, that I'm supposed to fill? And so there's really so many great books and videos and so on all of these evidences to believe from creation. And so I thought, well, maybe there's a way that I could present it that's a new box to put it in, a new presentation. And we live in a different world now with everybody scrolling nonstop,
Right.
watching shorts on YouTube or, reels on Facebook, Instagram, like TikTok and so on. Like every platform has its own version because they're addictive and they're just really fun in a lot. They can be, and you can consume so much, and we need to be careful about that.
Right.
But I thought maybe I could try to digest these really big ideas into a bite-sized form that's palatable, that will be delicious, and that will be something that will actually be consumed by people in this TikTok generation, So including my kids, I've read a lot of books on apologetics, like Peter Kreeft,
we love them. We love them.
Yeah. C.S. Lewis and Chesterton and Schaeffer and all of it. There's so many wonderful apologists, and I hope that my kids read them. I really do, but odds are they're not going to read all the same books. Maybe they'll read a couple, but maybe I could still present what I learned from those in a distilled form. And so I got the opportunity. The kids were having a talent show. It was for the whole church, but the kids were performing in one at our church for like a fundraiser. And so I said, I'm going to do something. And so I created a spoken word presentation, and I said, I'm going to talk just about the arguments from cosmology and from the fine tuning of the universe, and kind of put that into just one little 4-minute presentation in a poetic form that rhymes, that is to music. And so I used the soundtrack from one of my favorite movies about science and faith, Contact, which was actually a book written by the atheist Carl Sagan. But when they made it into this movie, the soundtrack by Silvestri is just so good. So I took that, and I brought my telescope out and a blanket on stage, and I just acted it out dramatically. And it was really so fun, and it was well received. And my daughter, she was just like, Dad, I've never been prouder of you than that moment. You really, wow. And it really moved her, and a lot of the people said the same. And so I said, thank you, Lord. You really used me here. And so maybe there's other presentations I could make. And so I made one on the human body and intelligent design and DNA, and presented that. The church actually asked me to present that one on a Sunday morning in front of everybody. Wow. And that was really well received. And I said, well, I'm going to keep this going. So how about the moral law, and how about evidence for the reliability of Scripture and the resurrection, and how about, and so on. I made several of them, and put them together into like a collection of what I call poetic apologetics, So I have a poetic apologetics collection. I put it on my website, meaningfulscience.com. And you could also see it on my my YouTube channel. / meaningful science. And actually, I think it's meaningful SCI, meaningful SCI. And I'd like to keep making them in the future.
That's awesome.
My kids are they're doing their thing now, and I'm trying to really make sure that I'm meeting their needs. So I've been spending my time now studying some things for my son. He's 14 now, and his buddies. We have an apologetic study group on Tuesday nights, so we've been doing a lot with that. But hopefully, I'll God will inspire me in some way to make another one in the future here.
Well, and I imagine
it's been a blessing to you, and I hope that a lot of other people can be blessed by it, and not find it too cheesy because it's rhyming, But
well, I think part of the power of it too is I've talked about this in the podcast. There's this power when you converge two things that don't normally occupy the same space. That some people call that's the greatest space of innovation and creativity, because they're normally not together. So it explodes possibilities. And I think that like you doing that, I mean, even poetic apologetics, the name of those two almost are like dissonant, like, wait, because it's like two right and left brain, or, you know what I mean? So I think that's the beauty of,
isn't it?
You really bring that. And in fact, you said Peter Kraft, you and I both love. I'll end this with that. He actually says that the eye of the poet sees less clearly, but sees further than the eye of the scientist. So
that is so good.
When you bring those together as you're in a really unique space. So I love that so much. So we'll have that.
I'm stealing that from you. Okay. That's a good one.
Okay. Yeah. It's a great one. So, okay. The final question, let you roll. I ask guests this all the time. So what, if you could design a billboard, simply just what would be on that billboard?
Okay.
That's a
great question. So I think I'm going to go with just like a first gut instinct kind of thing here. There's so many ways I could answer this. Oh my God. Yep. I would just say, put down your phone and drive.
Yeah.
Oh, I see way too many car accidents, man. We just passed one last night coming in. It was a bad one. And it's like, I know so many of these are from people using their phone and driving,
Right.
Like just drive.
We need a bunch of those billboards.
Put on That's So Rad podcast. It goes for like 2 hours. You'll get there.
I love that as a bill. You're right. Yeah. You'll get there.
It's scrolling and driving.
Hopefully no, that's a great, man. If we could have more of those billboards that I think just remind you. There's this. Now, this is I'm not trying to be funny with that, but I love also good bumper stickers. Driving back recently from Tennessee, and this girl's bumper sticker had in the back of the car. It said, "Please don't hit me. I don't understand how insurance works." And I just burst out laughing. It's like, that's the funniest random bumper. But so yeah, that's a great reminder and billboard.
Yeah, man.
So, but well, Wes, it's been a blast, and thank you for taking a good bit of your chunk on this to record.
My pleasure. And it's my pleasure. And really I wish I could make a billboard that says, "Tune into That's So Rad podcast." That would be a good one.
Well, maybe I'll work on that. So, but yeah, really excited to share this episode and this conversation. I can't wait to listen again myself. You had a lot of wisdom and great stories and insights. And so, yeah, thanks for being on.
Thanks, Travis. You're awesome too. I mean, you keep up the great work. You're being so consistent. I mean, you just keep going. You keep making these episodes week after week, and that takes a lot of grit and determination, and you're keeping that long range view, like a good poet. Yeah. And you keep going, man. You're blessing people, man. God is using you in this. It's blessed me, and I'm going to pray that God keeps using it to bless a lot more people.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much. That's really encouraging for me. Yeah. Thanks a lot. I really appreciate that.
Truth. Well, I hope to see you soon in person.
We got to do it. All right. Hope you enjoyed the episode today. Check out the show notes for any links or resources shared in the episode. If you enjoy the podcast, it would be really appreciated if you'd subscribe, leave a 5-star review, and share it with friends. May we all remember these words from writer Mary Oliver. Instructions for living a life. Pay attention, be astonished, tell about it.